Hello everyone, I'm Margarida Torres Gama. I'm a partner at Morais Leitão. I'm the head of the insurance team. I'm very pleased to be here. Morais Leitão is a partner of Fintech House since the beginning, so it's very good to see some old faces and new faces in this and have this opportunity to meet every one of you. I'm very pleased to be here talking about insurance, talking about claims management, and talking about fraud in claims management. I'm here with Nuno, Omar, and Nuno, Órfão, and Omar and Nuno Sobral. I would ask them to introduce themselves in 1 minute introduction, and then for us to be able to start the panel afterwards.
Thank you, Margarida. Thank you, Margarida. I'm Nuno Órfão from FLUXE. I'm the co-founder with João. It's here, over there. Olá, João. I would like to say thank you for the Fintech Portugal to invite us to stay here and try to give you our perspective about the fraud, the risk assessment, and what we are doing at FLUXE with the insurance sector in Portugal. My background is engineering, mechanical engineering, and I have been working on consulting for the last 15 years, and just the month before COVID start, I start this project with my partner, João. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nuno, and thank you guys for having us here in Margarita. So my name is Omar. I'm the founder of Kirontech. So we're UK-based, but we have friends in Portugal, and we specialize in medical insurance, so we're going to talk about that at some point. Like Nuno, I started my career not doing this. I'm an engineer as well, as we tend to be. I was in the financial industry, and then at some point I was enlightened and decided to start this business 2 years before COVID. It was still fun though, and yeah, so so look forward to this chat.
So, good morning all. So, you have a problem. You are here with 3 engineers and a lawyer. So, congratulations you for being here. We'll try to make this as less boring as possible. So, I'm Nuno. I'm a founder of TOOLTO. I work in the mobility space. And we serve mainly insurers and utilities that want to handle service client operations in a more digital way. So, we'll speak a little bit later on, and we'll try to keep you wake up.
Okay, just to give a little bit introduction, I do not think you need it, but of course, as you know, insurance has some kind of set process, or insurance companies have some kind of set procedures. The insurance industry, of course, nowadays has a lot of pressure on efficiencies and on cost efficiency. And it was initially, or when it began, there was a trend for insurance to be very dematerialized, meaning that the processes in the beginning were to be simplified. Of course, there is a lot of regulatory burdens nowadays, and so increasingly insurance processes became a little bit more burdensome, lots of paperwork, and so with the pressure to be more efficient, insurance companies started resourcing to tech providers and to Regtech providers. And so my first question for all 3 of you would be to know how can Regtech providers help insurance companies? What are the benefits, and in which way solutions as the ones you have developed or are developing can improve claims management and fraud detection in claims management? So I think it's a very broad question, but if you can give me a little bit of your thoughts on that, I would start with Nuno and then we'll go around.
Okay, thank you, Margarida. I will tell you about the story of FLUXE. We start with a big challenge to try to digitalize, to dematerialize some part of the business, some part of the claim process. In which part I'm talking about, it's the detection of damage in the car sector, okay, in the insurance car sector. So we decided to start I believe, and nowadays I still believe, the most difficult part in a car, it's the windshield. We are talking about taking photos of the windshield, detecting damage on something that actually the photo is not saying it's a windshield. We are looking to the seats, to the dashboard, to the reflections of outside, and we need to detect something there. A small scratch or a broken windshield. And that gave us really a big challenge. It was tough at the beginning, but in the end we managed, it's real. We have already a product. We have a contract with an insurance company, and it was something that really gave us a strong confidence to go to the other part of the car, to the complete car, and I believe in the next year and a half, we can deal with all the car and identify damage in something that it's, I believe, impossible some years ago. Regarding the insurance, from their side, what I feel is that we managed to decrease the cycle time a lot. We gave to the user a more seamless experience on their side. It's something that it's fully automated nowadays. We gave to the providers and to the insurance companies tools or data that help them to detect I missed the word, indexes that show that we might have a fraud behavior in the data.
Omar.
Thank you. So I'll give the medical perspective of that story. So, when we look at things, we work with the medical insurers, and a lot of, the first thing that we're saying in medical is we talk about fraud. A lot of challenges in medical are not always about fraud, they're about waste. Have we done the right thing? Did the patient get the right treatment? Is this the right thing for the patient? So the way we work on that is we work with our client. We first look at the claims. We try to put meaning to the claims. What are these claims about? And which is actually very often forgotten, right? Like, what was this claim for? What was wrong with the patient? We then actually build medical journeys. And this is actually very interesting because very often things that might look sensible in isolation might look nonsensible when put in the context of a journey. So that brings the patient actually at the center of the story. We then try to actually now ask the right question. Did we do the right thing for the patient at the right point in time? And at the end of that, we try to see, all right, well, if something wasn't done correctly, is there a good explanation and why? And is that process repeating itself at a specific point of care, at a specific decision-making point? And that allows us to now actually provide our client, the insurer, with two things. First, a lot of clarity as to what's going on in these claims, and also the opportunity to interfere to clean up that network in which these patients are being treated. And if you think of it from the perspective of the insurer, what is the role of the insurer in all that? And as a medical insurer, you can think of it, my role is to process claims. That's what they used to do. That's actually how most claims departments were set up. But today that has evolved, and my role is to be a partner in the care journey of my patient. And actually, the big transformation that occurs when you start looking at this is that you're actually bringing the patient now to the center of the story. And actually, all your decisions are centered around that. And that then feeds back into your, how do I contract? How do I engage with my regulator? How do I engage in matters that are where there's malpractice? But it all stems from that understanding of really what are these services? How are the patients being treated? And does it make sense? The reason we use machines is that in an ideal world, you'd have doctors answering these questions, but you cannot hire 600 doctors to run a medical insurer. And this is where the machines come in to try and take that burden and actually elevate it or effectively apply it across the wide variety of claims. But that's what we do.
So, from our side, the way we see it is simple. The mobility paradigm is changing. So basically, mobility now is shared, is less expensive, is digital. And insurers, in are a mobility player because they supply the coverage for going from point A to point B, and they take care of the cars and the houses. The way we see it is that insurers need to let's say, to continue to catch up the experience gap. And that's what we try to do, is to give them and supply them platforms so that they can, from one side, be integrated with their needs, their regulatory needs that are complex, and create the digital state-of-the-art experiences. So the way we see it is that always we'll try, and later on we'll speak a little bit on how to simplify and do small baby steps. But in our view, the two low-hanging fruits are, let's say, simplify the simple processes that are already simple, and normally they are taken care, every simple process is taken care in the same way as a complex process. So that we automate, we understand what is the need, and we propose a next best action based on the way things are handled. So that the second thing, we release resources for complex processes. Insurance is complex, so it's no way to say it. It is, and it will continue to be complex, and this complexity, there is a lot of value there. So let's say that the way we try to do it is help people with technology to serve clients, serve them better in a more simple way, and we release resources for the complex cases. For that, we have softwares like this app that connects with other parties, so that with a very low effort, we put even more technology to address more complicated situations. I think we're going to speak a little bit later onwards.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's very clear. Liaising with that, from the perspective of the insurance companies, what are the hurdles you have found in the implementation of these processes? I assume, from a regulatory point of view, in terms of the internal departments, and please do not say lawyers, but I assume lawyers may sometimes be a hurdle. Sometimes Nuno looked at me kind of, okay. But in terms of, we have seen in the past that insurance companies usually use outsourcers for claims, for certain aspects of the claims management process. But these are usually kind of small parts of the claims management process. They do not require lots of interface with clients, or not always lots of interface with clients, and so the control remains with the insurance company. So on the other side, insurance companies has a lot of pressure on resilience and internal control and internal processes. So that would be what I would anticipate would the hurdles be if I were in an insurance company. But what kind of issues have you found that may be seen as a hurdle from your client's perspective? And the clients, I mean the insurance companies' clients or intermediaries or the companies which require your services. So.
Okay, Margarida, I would say that that point is threefold, from the insurance side, from our side, and also for the market itself. From the insurance, what we felt mainly, and it's common sense, they are very, very conservative. So when we try to sell this kind of products, something that it's fully automated, that will show them that, for example, on the underwriting stage, you will have something, tell them, look, you have an issue here. You have something that it's already damaged. You should not do the insurance as you are trying to sell. So the commercial part of the insurance doesn't like this talk, really. They prefer not to see us on the table to discuss this with them. Even though the numbers show them that it's better not to do the underwriting of the insurance. The second point is the teams. It's very difficult to set up a team, and it's also common sense, I believe, here, to set up a team dealing with machine learning, artificial intelligence, talk with the insurance teams about the issues that we really need, and I'm talking about data, to start a project with detecting damage on a windshield, we did large sets of photos. They don't have it. And the cases that they have it, it's very low quality. It's not their fault, it's not our fault, but we need to set up these kind of things. But if you ask me, the major hurdle is on the conservative side of the insurance. They came from 2 years, very, very good years for this industry. So it's another point. They don't have the need, they really need to change. So it was difficult. Okay, it's my contribution.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to start a bit the other way around. I'm going to actually talk about what is the most determinant factor in success when we engage with a client. And I'll actually then say why, and that explains what the hurdles are. It's the buy-in from senior management. You need senior management to have the vision to see through the buy-in to get this delivered. And what I'm talking about is the delivering of a new way of doing claims. If you don't get that, you're going to face every single challenge along the way. Is this a priority for the IT team? Probably not. Is this a priority for the commercial team? No, they might have the decision that they want to do something else. Why don't we build this in-house, right? We hired a lot of data scientists. Well, a product is not a spreadsheet, a single model is not a product, etc. So actually, at the end of the day, these are large organizations. I've worked in banks, the same problems. You need someone who has the stamina and the determination to see these projects through to the end. And most of the challenges are human, right? And they result in this kind of resistance to change sometimes because people are happy. Why should I change? Often the functions that are actually being tasked to make the decision about change are the ones that take the risk of a change not working out, but don't actually benefit from the upside. And this is where management comes in, by actually removing that risks away from them, telling them, I'm empowering you to do the change, and if it doesn't work, the risk is on me. That's actually what actually makes it happen. And this is where the challenges lie, at least in my opinion.
No, and that ties with what Nuno said
100%.
concerning that the commercial team has no interest, but no initial interest. But there may be other teams that, of course, may have, and so it's kind of for the management to kind of see the whole picture.
Just to clarify, we are not complaining about this. We are just saying that it's really difficult to explain
The benefit.
in a sector, in an industry that it's their own setup of selling. Why are you putting here some technology that will block our selling side? It's really difficult to overcome this hurdle. We felt this in every stage of the deal.
I don't want to take Nuno's time, but it very often has to do with the fact that people don't get. People are incentivized on very narrow things, and they can't see the benefit that accrues across the various teams. And again, this is where that impact of a senior person sponsoring a project comes in.
So no more. Let's say now this is. Let's try to give you a slightly different perspective. So the way I see it, I'm a terrible optimistic. So here I don't. If I'm not very well in the mood, tomorrow morning I'll be perfect. So basically, we don't see hurdles. We see a lot of challenges. Okay, so clearly, in our view, the biggest challenges are the long sales cycles. So basically, we have to accept and be prepared for long decision period making. And again, as I told you in the introduction, the complexity. And it is there. We cannot. There is no place where it is not complex. And what do we try to do with? I always say with very low success. Basically, we simplify everything we can simplify. Again, if you want to sell a complete claims management process, sell them 1/10 of the process you have in mind. Okay, understand where is the biggest pain, and try to propose only one portion of it, so that we can simplify their decision process. Okay, so and then simply adjust the pipeline. So basically, if the sales cycle is 5 times bigger, you need to have a pipeline 5 times bigger. What happens if they accelerate? You have to grow your team so that you don't lose the opportunity, and you have to be ready to escalate very fast. Then the complexity topic, and here with even lower success than the simplicity. The complexity is huge. We are dealing with companies that are completely silos organized, companies that have specialists that cannot, in normal companies, a marketing guy can go to the sales part, the guy from sales can go to HR. In insurance, you don't convert a claims specialist in an underwriting or an underwriting in financial because things are complex. You have 10 IT specialties within the IT department. So you have to prepare your architecture so that you get the most independent from them possible. So you have to structure yourself the way you can answer almost to every type of problem, okay, or hurdle or challenge. So the way we try to do is instead of sell, we offer. Sometimes to start, we say, look, let's do it. We take our risks. We don't ask for a lot of contracts, a lot of complexity. We say, look, what is the project? Let's develop it, and we'll come back in 4 weeks, and you will try it. First, they use internally, then we will try, okay, let's discover a direct company or an area that you have a certain challenge, and let's try to use it there. We do the development, we show them we have the capacity, and then it will normally scale up. Sometimes it is possible. Again, we are in 3 completely different areas. We do customer service, so it's more broad, it's more simple to adapt. Probably their areas are more focused, less flexible, but that's the way we do it.
Okay, I think it's. I tend to see it also as a challenge, but I at least from my perspective as a lawyer, but I understand that sometimes when you go through all the processes you have to go inside an insurance company, then you could see some resistance, find some resistance, and of course that's not something bad. That's something that that's natural when you have the processes and you have big companies involved in risk. As taking risk today is so demanding that you have to have so many kind of internal processes in place. I think my next question would be to kind of link what you do with the regulatory requirements, which might be seen as one of the hurdles in providing this kind of technology to insurance companies. As you know, and as you are involved in claims management has a lot of requirements in terms of contact with clients and market conduct, adequacy in the contacts with clients. You have, of course, on the side of insurance companies and distributors, lots of intermediaries. So I think Omar also already touched the point that this is kind of this might be ended up being a better solution to the clients themselves. So you would be kind of improving the performance of the service that the insurance company is providing. But how do you see that this kind of allows not only the insurance company to improve in the normal KPIs an insurance company would have, but also in terms of the regulatory requirements, meaning that, of course, there is lots of, every insurance company has a policy on the adequate treatment of clients. Could this be kind of linked to that? Or how do you say that the services you may be able to provide, or Regtech may be able to provide, kind of link with market conduct and adequacy in treatment of clients?
I'll talk to my narrow lens of being in the medical space. And we work in different markets, which means we have to face a very, very wide variety of requirements. Of some markets are very highly regulated, some are less. And again, talking purely about what we do and the medical stuff. So there is an obligation on the insurer to make sure that the right stuff is being done to the patient. As I said, the first thing is to understand what is being done. there is also the opportunity that once you understand what is being done, you actually engage actively with the regulator rather than proactively to say, well, here are the issues in the market. So a lot of things we work on and resulting in new rules around billing. What is acceptable billing? What is acceptable behavior? That starts by figuring out these problems and engaging to make, the end goal is to make a better regulatory environment for everybody or a better operating environment for everyone. Part of also what we do is, because you get this insight, and again, it varies a lot by market, there are some markets where there are responsibilities, regulatory responsibilities of the client in terms of reporting, and that allows them to actually meet these requirements much better. There are also some markets like the Middle East where there are regulatory requirements in terms of claim turnaround time. And again, that actually feeds into that process. So my answer is, it varies. It definitely helps, and actually it depends on what your burden is, but at the core of it is understanding your claim, understanding the data, understanding what's being done, eventually puts you in a better position to either confront a regulatory challenge or take a more proactive position towards that.
So again, I'm going to be very pragmatic, and the way we see it is, as I told you in the previous answer, we try not to see the difficulties, but we try to see opportunities. So here, the way we did it was simple. We only use systems that naturally are fully compliant with all and in continuous evolution, and then we try to discover pains for the client. So instead of saying to the guy, look, we are going to complexify your life because regulatory is hell, we say, look, where is your biggest problem? And we try to discover. We are speaking about claims management. So today, I don't know any player at least in Iberia, that has a fully integrated claims settlement and management team. So everybody is multi-intervenient. So basically, they have got multiple companies working together, and this simply is not compliant. Okay, although they work months to prove to their internal audits that everything is compliant, it is not. So basically what we try to do is to say, look, let's start to solve the problems by getting sure the data of your clients is properly dispatched and received, and we'll start from there. So basically what we try to do is that we integrate the data flows, and we start making decisions on the process. By having the systems pre-made or pre-prepared, we just need to customize all the data regarding provisioning, regarding let's say, the audit, the levels of the autonomies that are in place. And we start from there. And doing that, we are increasing their compliance comfort. And by doing that so far, we have been doing things that were never done. We have some cases where we are able to integrate in real time the provisions amounts of claims as they happen, sometimes in an automatic way, sometimes less automated way. But this has been the strategy, and with huge results. So basically, we have to know the processes, study the specific case, and then see where is the biggest pain, because everybody knows they are they are really smart, and I always learn a lot with every case I see. And we start solving the biggest problems that they know they have. It's not to finish very fast. You cannot tell them what is the problem. It is not a regulator. They know what is the problem, and that we have to understand where is the pain, how can we solve it, and we start going.
A few words, because I believe we are more focused on the subject here from the side of the FLUXE. But I remember when we start working on the project, the time we took to comply with the GPDR, it was really really difficult. Again, because we are dealing with robots. Our software works mainly with artificial intelligence, and it was difficult to understand how we can comply with all the issues of the GDPR, and it was challenging. Not difficult, but challenging.
Okay, I think only wrapping up before giving people the time to put some question. I think adding to what you said, I have worked in the past in capital markets. In capital markets, you have everything integrated in terms of using technology with the supervisor and the management of the markets, which is not the case here. But I think in the ideal world, from my perspective, you would also have supervisory technology, which would kind of link to Regtech and to the technology which is in the insurance company, and would allow the processes to be streamlined, because that would make, for instance, reporting for insurance companies so easy, and the kinds of solutions you provide should also be able to give more, I would say, structured data and information, which could also always be, or could be passed to the regulators more easily, and with more kind of credibility in terms of what is reported. So I would give opportunity to everyone who would want to make some questions. We have someone here. Thank you.
Hi. I have a question for you, Omar, meaning two questions. In a context, I believe that you manage the claims based on electronic medical records, and also in a context that, or a behavior from the patient or the customer of the insurance company. My first question is related to federated exchanges. Are insurance companies working with federated exchanges, or are only working directly with the healthcare providers? This is my first question. The second one is related to how are insurance companies now dealing with the data which is coming from wearable devices? Are they integrating that? Are they promoting certain kind of services which somehow are gathering this kind of information, and it's a one-stop data, or it's a feed? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So the first, I'll answer them one at a time. So we don't really work with electronic medical records. We work with claim records, and they're slightly different in that the claim is, and there's a reason for that. It's to actually deal with issues around data privacy and GDPR and who owns the data and right to use. So we get our data directly from the invoices that were paid by the insurer. So that's all we see. And then from that basis, we start to build these ideas or this image of what has happened to the patient, and we try to make the decisions around that. We purposefully as well don't link that data to the outside world for all the reasons, because you want to make sure you're not biasing around a specific patient, or you're not digressing from your pure judgment based on what you see, right? With regards to medical devices, or I think, and this is my observation, and what I have found is they've tried a lot. Invariably, it ends up creating a lot of noise that they don't know what to do with, right? So actually, if I'm an insurer and I end up with a feed that gives me the heart rate per second of a patient, I have no idea what to do with that data. I'm not equipped to manage that data. Actually, this is where teams such as Nuno would come in, where they can take that data and turn it into signals that they can then process. The people we've worked with, I think, historically haven't done really a lot in that. They tend to focus more, again, at the higher level of stuff. There are a couple of companies that have used these, like Vitality in the UK. It tends to be, and they tend, what we found, and again, to be clear, Vitality is not a client of ours, but I do know them. They tend to use these as mechanisms to select in patients. So what you end up with is it's a good, if you want, self-declaration mechanism where you want to pick up the healthy patient, but actually by offering them these sorts of devices, you're actually doing a self-selection bias and putting these people into your plan. How they use it internally, I've seen a lot of stuff with Discovery, the parent company, because we're part of the same body. I've not seen them use these, to be honest. I still, again, when you see what they do internally, we go back to the claims. But I'm happy to continue that chat, aware of time, so we can pick that separate.
Thank you. I think this question is mostly for Nuno. So considering that the insurance industry doesn't really have the final customer's higher level of confidence because of its complexity, I was wondering if you had any insights on the final customers' resistance to adopting self-service tools, like, for example, for the damage estimation.
Yes. We thought on that on the development phase of the technology. That's why we decided not to have apps, because it's difficult to explain to all of us, look, you need to install an app to make a claim, to work with your insurance company. We decided not to do it, and we used a token technology, meaning that you receive a message, kind of a message, and you open your browser, you took your photos, sent to us, and you forgot that. So I really believe that we need to keep the work on try to do all this experience as seamless as possible, not interfering with your day, not to push you to install something on your smartphone to deal with something that you would prefer not to deal with. Okay, that's our belief, and until now we are confident that it's better to go on this way, not on the other way. It's just a small example.
So I think we were out of time. I would like to thank you so much for your interventions. And I think it's very interesting, and I hope we have the opportunity to chat again. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here.